Now, this is fun. This makes me laugh. I enjoy this very much. Interactive Polls tweeted the following. This is from Kaplan Strategies. Now, to be fair, I don't know how good their methodology is and their polling is, so take it with a massive grain of salt here. But 2024 National Republican Primary, they have Trump at 48. That's 36 points ahead. In second, they have a tie with Ramaswamy and DeSantis. Now, listen. In the average for a while, DeSantis has been over 20%. He just in the average dipped below it to about 19.5%. But now we have Ramaswamy, at least in this one poll, tied with DeSantis. Now you could say, hey, it's a small sample size. Who knows about, the validity of this outlet, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's all fair, right? We can have that conversation. But in no world did I ever think, no matter how skewed the poll is, that Ramaswamy would be tied with DeSantis. You also have Christie at 5% and Tim Scott at 5%. The Christie numbers I've seen in that realm before. I've never seen Tim Scott that high. Pence at 3%, at 4%. That's the lowest I've ever seen Pence. Haley at 3%. Hutchinson at 1%. They left out my boy Doug Burgum, and there's some polls where I've been seeing quite a bit of Burgumentum, so I'm a little disappointed they left out. By the way, one of my pet peeves on these polls for the presidential primaries is like, they just make them up. Like on the Democratic side, they'll put like Michelle Obama. And it's like, she literally has said repeatedly, I'm never going to run. Why are you adding her in the poll? That makes no sense. They will leave out Marianne Williamson, but put in Michelle Obama. And it's like, you're just trolling us at this point. This is just trolling. They put like AOC in there. She's not running. She's not running. So that annoys me. But anyway, Ramaswamy at 12%. Ramaswamy. What? So just to remind everybody, because, this guy is, I was going to say he's forgettable, but he's not really forgettable. It's more like his face is punchable. But this was his launch video, which we got a good kick out of. This is the guy who's now tied for second in at least one of the national polls. Watch this.
We're in the middle of a national identity crisis. Faith, patriotism, and hard work have disappeared, only to be replaced by new secular religions like COVIDism, climatism, and gender ideology.
COVIDism, climatism, and gender ideology. He's saying we no longer have like a national religion, Christianity or whatever. And so now, there's all these cults like COVIDism and gender ideology. Climatism. Wow. From my perspective, Vivek, it seems to me like the strongest cult in the country is the cult of Trump, the guy leading in your primary. He's had like 78 indictments. He's been charged with about 1 million crimes. And his people never abandoned him. We literally played videos the other day of people at a Trump rally saying, if he murders somebody, I would literally still follow. Like, I'd be fine with it. That seems a little cultish to me. But no, it's people who accurately evaluate the empirical data and realize climate change is disastrous and has horrible consequences and are like, hey, we should stop this. Ha, you're in a cult. Climatism. If you agree that, hey, I think trans people exist and maybe they should be able to get treatment. Ha ha ha. Gender ideology, or as he says, ideology. Oh, Jesus. Okay. He's about to turn the smugometer up off the charts here.
We hunger to be part of something bigger than ourselves, yet we cannot even answer the question of what it means to be an American. Today, the woke left preys on that vacuum. They tell you that your race, your gender, and your sexual orientation govern who you are, what you can achieve, and what you're allowed to think.
I'm on the left. I don't think that your race or your gender or your ethnicity or whatever says anything about you other than that's what the thing you are. It says nothing. I'm on the left. I'm not saying that. End of point. Go ahead. Beat up on that straw man all day, Vivek. By the way, I finally figured out who this guy is. You ready for this? You guys are going to love this. Here's who Vivek Ramaswamy is. He is the Republican Pete Buttigieg. Look, I'm just saying that's why I have this show, right? That's why I have this show. Because every now and then I'll drop a little gem like that and it's like a nuclear bomb of wisdom dropping on everybody. It's just accurate. This is Republican Pete Buttigieg. Just as smug, just as arrogant, just dripping with like Ivy League aura, right? And acting like, bro, I'm an outsider, no big deal.
This is psychological slavery, and that has created a new culture of fear in our country that has completely replaced our culture of free speech in America. And that is why today I am announcing my run for President of the United States. This isn't just a political campaign. This is a cultural movement to create a new American dream for the next generation.
It's amazing to me that this is his first time being a politician, and he seems like he's been a politician since the fetus. The way he talks, his cadence, his rhythm, the way he moves his body, it's all like, right out of Central Casting.
To me, the American dream means you believe in merit.
Without the woke left, it would just, everything's super merited. Everything's based on merit. Everything. That's why we have like the worst income and wealth inequality in human history, worse than the Gilded Age. You know, we have like a handful of billionaires that have more than 50% of the country. It's because it's merit. You know, it's merit. If you're born into the Walton family and you're happy and you're lucky to be part of the Good Sperm Club, it's like you earned it. You earned it by being born into that family. It's merit. This is all merit. And then meanwhile, there are people who work multiple jobs and can't make enough money to pay the bills. But that's merit. It's meritocracy. In capitalism, that's merit. It's merit. So it's like the harder you work, you don't go further, but still that's like somehow there's merit there, even though it is like literally the opposite of merit. And it's a totally rigged system. Gotcha. Thank you. Thank you, Vivek.
Not on the color of your skin, but on the content of your character and your contributions.
Quoting MLK there, it's more about the content of your character than the color of your skin. Great. Do you agree with any other opinions of Martin Luther King? Like when he said we need democratic socialism? Are you going to quote that part? Oh, you're not going to quote that part. Are you going to quote the part where he said he wanted a higher minimum wage? You're going to quote that? Oh, you're not going to. Are you going to quote the part where he says inequality in healthcare is the worst form of inequality? You're going to quote that part? Oh, that's right. You're not going to quote that part. Are you going to quote the part where he says my government is the biggest purveyor of terrorism in the world today? Are you going to quote that part when you say we talk about the Vietnam War at the time? Are you going to say that today about Iraq, Afghanistan? Are you going to quote that part? Oh, that's something you're not going to quote. Okay, so you'll cherry pick the thing. I think I can twist this into fitting my beliefs, and then you're gonna. Okay, I got you. Thank you, Republican Pete Buttigieg.
It means you believe the people who we elect to run the government are the ones who actually run the government, not a federal bureaucracy that grows like a national cancer that is now metastasizing to the private sector. It means that the best ideas win instead of getting censored. It means you don't have to choose between speaking your mind freely and putting food on the dinner table. It means you believe these ideals form the backbone of the greatest nation on earth, that the rest of the world still looks up to as its example, not the Soviet Union in the last century and not communist China in this one either. That is the new American dream. Ask yourself if you believe in these ideals. I think most of you do.
You do not. Look at the polling, man. We know what people believe in. They want a higher minimum wage. They want universal health care. They want to tax the wealthy. They want to protect and expand Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and all those things. This is what people want. The basics. They don't want to. This is one of those guys. He's sort of doing the DeSantis thing, and actually, he was the originator of it. He gives all these speeches and does these podcasts, and he's like, bro, we're going to go after DEI and ESG and CRT and ABCDEFG, bro. All these acronyms that the normie American, have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. We're going to go after them. And then you get weirdos like that David Sachs guy like, oh, such an intellectual. You're so intellectual. Please.
Your neighbors do too, though you can't be sure because you don't feel free to talk about it anymore. You might disagree with each other about corporate tax rates or about whether ivermectin treats COVID, but those are details. We still agree on our nation's most fundamental principles.
Okay, I love that. So the only time he brings up policy in this whole thing is to be like, here are some policies, but they don't matter. Let's get back to the big ideas. What big ideas? Platitude stuff, fortune cookie bullshit, values, whatever. No. See, this is why you're a charlatan. This is why you're a fraud. This is why you're a con man. You just poo-pooed the idea of policy disagreements. No, I want to know what your fucking policies are. You run for president. Not like we're merit and American values. And it is not 1987, you freak. It's not. Which, by the way, gets me to my main point, which is, this is a flash in the pan. Okay, I've never been more certain than today that the 2024 Republican primary is going to be just like the 2016 Republican primary. Why do I say that? This is exactly what we saw in 2016. At first, the establishment was like, we're betting on Jeb Bush. And then Jeb Bush... low-energy Jeb, flamed out even quicker than Ron DeSantis did this time around. And then they were scrambling. Marco Rubio. We'll do Marco Rubio. Little Marco flamed out, couldn't go anywhere, was embarrassing, imploded immediately. Then, I don't know, John Kasich. That lasted for like 2.5 seconds. Then they went to Ted Cruz. All right, fine, we'll take Ted Cruz. He's slimy, he's a weasel, we don't like him, but he's going to serve the establishment, and he's more controllable than Trump is. They went for him. That didn't work, and they were left with Trump. So they all bet on DeSantis early on, the Republican donors. Now he's flaming out. You heard Rupert Murdoch and others are abandoning him at 1,000 miles an hour. They're looking for the replacement, and so now seems like Ramaswamy's on that list. And he'll get his brief 15 minutes of fame, the flash in the pan. He'll sell some books. He'll do a shitty podcast, whatever. And we're off to the races. But at the end of the day, the last man standing again will probably be Donald Trump. Even like 2012, it reminds me like when Herman Cain ran for president. He was leading for 2.5 seconds. Carly Fiorina led for 2.5 seconds. So we're seeing a similar thing. Vivek's gonna have his moment in the sun, and there might be some others that they boost up to tie for second. But the only difference is this time around, the moment in the sun isn't even being number one in the polls, which it was. Remember when Ben Carson led Trump for like 7 seconds? That's what it was. Back then, his flash, his moment, 15 minutes of fame, flash in the pan, that's it. Now it's that, but for second place. And Vivek's got his thing going. So it's not going to work. Let's listen to a little more of this. And I got one more amazing poll for you, which is very illuminating.
The goal of the ruling party in this country is to convince us that we are divided. Why? So they can accumulate more power for themselves. Well, you know what? I have a dream that we can be one people again. We have obsessed so much over our diversity and our differences that we forgot all the ways we're really just the same as Americans, bound together by a common set of ideals that brought together a divided, diverse, headstrong group of people 250 years ago. And I believe deep in my bones that those ideals still exist, and I am running for president to revive them. E pluribus unum. From many, one. That is the dream that won the American Revolution. That is the dream that reunited us after the Civil War. That is the dream that won us 2 world wars.
I can't take it anymore. You're not a historical figure. You're a weird, uber wealthy, right-wing grifter who's obsessed with niche issues, and you're somehow transferring that into some notoriety. And also, by the way, he is the biggest Trump ball coddler. You think DeSantis coddles Trump's balls? You think DeSantis does it? Vivek really coddles his balls, which probably is why, he's having his moment here where he randomly tied for second. Anyway, look at this. This is the South Carolina GOP primary poll. Now, to be fair, Nikki Haley was the governor of South Carolina, so to some extent, this makes sense. But look at this. In this poll, Trump's at 48%, because of course, he's leading by 1 million. Nikki Haley has eclipsed Ron DeSantis in South Carolina. Nikki Haley, 13%. Tim Scott, 10%. I think Tim Scott was the senator from South Carolina. Nikki Haley above Pudding Ron. Nikki Haley above Rod DeSanctimonious. Rod, we call him Rod for certain reasons. Nikki Haley's beating you. Nikki Haley. She has the charisma of a dirty diaper. She is the human form of Ambien. Her husband falls asleep when she talks. I'm sorry, Nikki, did you speak? You have this ability to just put everybody to sleep. Never in a million years would I have guessed, even in South Carolina, that she would poll at 14%. I would have guessed she's less than 10%, even in South Carolina. So I'll remind you of just how ineffectual and useless she is.
The railroad tracks divided the town by race. I was the proud daughter of Indian immigrants, not black.
This is good. This is really this is super appealing to Republican voters, by the way. Talk about your personal story around identity and your ethnicity. Yeah, they're going to love that.
Not white. I was different. But my mom would always say your job is not to focus on the differences, but the similarities. And my parents reminded me and my...
Why are you walking by a railroad track? Why are you walking by a railroad track? What is this? God, they're all so scripted. Oh my God, I hate them all. I hate them all so much.
Siblings every day how blessed we were to live in America. Some look at our past as evidence that America's founding principles are bad. They say the promise of freedom is just made up. Some think our ideas are not just wrong, but racist and evil. Nothing could be further from the truth.
Really bold and brave stuff here. Really bold. America? I love America. I like America. America's good. That's my bold stance, bro. I'm going to say America's good, bro. Did I trigger you liberals, bro? Did I trigger you? No big deal. I'm just saying brave things. Like I'm pro-America. I'm in favor of it. I don't care who knows it. Wow, Nikki. Oh, yeah. This is really, let me tell you, this is really going to get you across that finish line. That's all you have to say. You know, all of Trump's showmanship, all of his charisma, all the triggering the libs, that's going to be nothing when they hear, I'm voting Nikki Haley. Why? She likes America. Okay. All right. Very cool. Very cool. I can't wait for the rest of this ad.
I have seen evil. In China, they commit genocide. In Iran, they murder their own people for challenging the government.
So we got nothing on wages, nothing on healthcare, nothing on unions, nothing on working class people. We go right to China's doing genocide, Iran is a criminal gangster rogue government, blah, blah, blah. More neocon hawkery than anything about Americans and their own financial situations at a time when our country is absolutely dilapidated and falling apart at the seams. Real finger on the pulse stuff here.
And when a woman tells you about watching soldiers throw her baby into a fire, it puts things in perspective. Even on our worst day, we are blessed to live in America. I was born and raised in South Carolina, so I have seen the very best of our country. People here threw out the old, tired political establishment and demanded accountability for their tax dollars. Industry reports called us the beast of the Southeast, which I loved. People came by the thousands for fresh starts. Moms and dads held their heads up high. Children learned that it was always
It's a great day in South Carolina. It's a great day.
It's a great day.
A great day.
a great day in South Carolina. We were strong. We were proud. And when evil did come,
Police in South Carolina are looking for a gunman following a shooting at a church in
Several
downtown.
victims.
This is the equivalent of the Rudy Giuliani bringing up 9/11 every 5 seconds. That's what she's doing. She's doing her equivalent of that. Talking about that racist shooter at the church in South Carolina. And I was governor when that happened. I was governor. Just so you know, I was governor.
we turned away from fear, toward God, and the values that still make our country the freest and greatest in the world.
By the way, did they do anything policy-wise in response to that? Did they do red flag laws to keep guns out of criminals' hands? Or anything? No, you're just going to bring up the thing and use that to say, I was governor, so vote for me. Just like Giuliani. 9/11, I was governor, so, vote for me.
We must turn in that direction again. Republicans have lost the popular vote in 7 out of the last 8 presidential elections.
Facts.
That has to change. Joe Biden's record is abysmal, but that shouldn't come as a surprise. The Washington establishment has failed us over and over and over again.
You are the establishment. Your entire campaign is built on big donor money. It's built on billionaire money and corporate money. There's no grassroots support for Nikki Haley. You are the establishment. This new trend of every single insider saying, we need an outsider. Every single establishment goon being like, we need somebody to challenge the establishment. You all are the establishment.
It's time for a new generation of leadership to rediscover fiscal responsibility, secure our border, and strengthen our country, our pride, and our purpose.
Strengthen our country, our pride, and our purpose. Well, that is really brilliant. A third grader can come up with that in if they're forced to write an essay where they fill it full of fluff. Jesus Christ, man.
Some people look at America and see vulnerability. The socialist left sees an opportunity.
The socialist left, and on the screen is Bernie, Kamala, Biden, and Nancy Pelosi. Yeah, that real deep socialist, Nancy Pelosi, the one who said, actually, we're free market capitalized. Yeah, that right, socialist. Ugh.
Rewrite history. China and Russia are on the march. They all think we can be bullied, kicked around. You should know this about me. I don't put up with bullies. And when you kick back, it hurts them more if you're wearing heels. I'm Nikki Haley, and I'm running for president.
Real smart stuff. Again, knowing your audience well. When you kick back, hurts more if you wear heels. I guarantee you this party's going to love the girl boss, stuff you're throwing out there. Look, to be fair, in South Carolina, she's now tied for second. But look, this election, it's the mini surges, right? It's the mini surges. Now you have people who have a moment in second place and they're like, yay, even though it's like you're 43 points down to Trump. It's like, oh. So this is where we're at, guys. This is where we're at. Chomsky said it a long time ago that the Republican establishment lost control of the base. And it's never been more true than today. I mean, you could see it. The fact that they think for even a second that a Tim Scott or a Nikki Haley or somebody like that is viable, it's both sad and also adorable. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You want to.